I feel like that'd be so much fun.
Good afternoon. My name is Blake Osborne. I'm the Director of Programming at the Lowery Institute, and I am thrilled because today, on what would have been Dr. Jospeh Lowery's 102nd birthday, to celebrate his heavenly birthday, I'm proud to bring today our Civic Engagement Capstone team because when we think of Dr. Lowery and we think of how we want to honor him, we honor him by serving. And today I'm extremely proud to bring before you our Civic Engagement Capstone team, who's going to show you how we serve. And we serve by dealing with critical social justice issues, including civic engagement. So I'm proud to introduce to you all today our Lowry Institute Civic Engagement team. Everybody sitting across from you. These are 10 brilliant students from the AUC, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell you why civic engagement matters to them. The floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Michelle Herring. I attend Spelman College, and civic engagement is important to me because as a college student, I believe that knowing the importance of voting is very important for our younger Black and Brown population, and that our vote counts and our vote matters, and political things that we want to see. So that's why I believe civic engagement is important.
Um, I'm, I'm Jaden Johnson. I go to Clark Atlanta University, and civic engagement is important to me because it just reminds people how much power the voter actually has, and I think this promotes that.
Hi everyone, my name is Chloe McCray. I go to Clark Atlanta University. I got into civic engagement because I plan to go into education, teaching in areas with high Black and Brown populations. And in order for the students to learn the best, we have to put those in position who want the best for them. So in order to vote for the right people, we have to be active and so they can serve the kids.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gianna Allen. I attend Spelman College. I got involved with civic engagement because I believe that voting is important, but more so that there's a lack of voting just be due to misinformation and lack of education. So I got involved just to kind of deter that and put out the right information and education.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla Edelin, and I attend Spelman College. Civic engagement is important to me because, like she previously said, there's a lot of misinformation that is going out to college students, and I really believe that this foundation is an opportunity for us to really reach all of our AUC siblings and help them register and help them be active within the voting system that our ancestors fought for us to be in.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rosie, and I go to Spelman College. Civic engagement is important to me because I believe that we are the future of the world and of law and everything that surrounds that. In order for things to change, we have to be in the room where the change happens. And I think getting involved and understanding how civic engagement helps us in our daily lives and affects the decisions that we make and also experience are important.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ezekiel Rab. I go to Morehouse College, and the reason civic engagement is important to me is because I feel like we're the change agents against misinformation that comes from the media and the upcoming rise of the AI. And another reason I think civic engagement is important is because getting older, we start to realize how much the laws really affect us in our daily lives.
Hey everybody, my name is Delroy Longino. I go to Morehouse College, and civic engagement is important to me. It's kind of similar to what everyone else said. I believe civic engagement is how change is really made, and the fact that it's not fully understood, like many people just don't know how to register to vote or how to vote. I feel like that needs to be changed. So.
Hi, I'm Zaria Sellers. I attend Spelman College, and civic engagement is important to me simply because I understand that our vote is vital in creating the change that we want to see.
Thank you, Ms. Sellers. So for those watching, we're going to do what we do, which is we come together every week and we discuss issues. So as much fun as it is to pretend that we're to stare at the cameras, we're just going to pretend like we're sitting around our tables doing this every week. So all right, guys. So the topic that we're dealing with today and what we're talking about is the youth vote, right? And so there are a lot of conceptions about the youth vote, right? And there are a lot of organizations right now that are trying to deal with this. And one of the things we've been looking at and discussing over the years so far is trying to deal with the central question of why to be blunt, don't college students vote in the numbers that they should, right? Everybody at this table, we're not talking about us, we like to believe that we are civically inclined. We turn out to vote, right? But we talked about the numbers. In the last midterm, the numbers were in the teens and in the 20s on college campuses, right? And so part of the work that we're doing as a capstone is to dissect that, to understand those numbers, and then try to figure out solutions for that. Now, we've touched on this in the past, but I kind of want to go back through it a bit for our viewers today so they can just see how learned we are. Somebody, I'll go ahead and cold call Kayla, because I know you know this answer. What are some of the challenges with getting youth to vote? What when we think about college students and why they don't vote, what are some of the reasons that we typically hear about?
A lot of the reasons that we hear are that they are out of state at their school is out of state, so they are registered at their hometown state, and they're having difficulty transferring over their registration. I know me personally, when I tried to transfer over my registration, I had a very hard time with the state of Georgia, just allowing me, and they tried to make me sign like this whole proclamation and everything like that. So I know that's one of the main reasons.
Exactly. Somebody else, somebody tag in with her.
I feel like college students don't vote because, or a lot of college students don't vote because of voter fatigue. Like when you keep seeing ads and you keep seeing like, oh, this is what this senator did, or this is what this senator did, like it just gets like repetitive and kind of annoying. So then when it is time to vote, like people really don't feel like it. Like they don't feel like it. And the lines be long, SB 202, yeah, all that.
No, let's talk about that, right? So that's a lot, right? When we think about just those things, right? We're basically talking about voter apathy, voter fatigue, and we're talking about how structures that are put into place make it difficult for college students to vote, right? With an acknowledgement that there are issues that relate to voting that college students are particularly interested in, right? And so one of the things we're doing as a capstone, and I'm going to put it out to everybody watching this video, is we've been conducting a survey that kind of highlights some of the most important issues that are related to college students and their work, right? You all have been talking about that. What do you all feel are the biggest issues that are related to your generation? Like, for example, let me tell you why I vote. This is very personal to me. I think I've told you all this story. About 2 months ago, President Biden put in a student repayment plan for student loans that, because of the work I do, wiped out my student loan. So I don't have to pay student loans for the next year. They were forgiven. Student loan forgiveness is a pretty dramatic reason to go vote, right? Definitely makes me more interested in it and makes me want to watch to see what happens. What about you? Why do you vote, Zeke?
I would say the main reason I vote is to see change in the things I complain about, because one of my pet peeves is like people that complain about things but don't actually advocate to change them. So yeah.
But what issue? What issue specifically? For me, student loan repayments, that's a big thing, right? Mm-hmm. What's an issue for you? What's an issue that drives you to the polls? Or is there an issue that drives you to the polls?
I mean, really, mainly I just been voting like for senators and like some of the things that they've been advocating for. So like, for example, like in the Herschel Walker versus Warnock race, I believe like Warnock was advocating like more for like women's rights and like for them to be able to be more in control of what they do with their bodies. So things of that nature is what I vote for.
Somebody else, what's the issue that drives you to the polls? Or my capstone team not go to the polls? Come on, Michelle. What drives you to go vote?
I'd say education, maybe the lack thereof because of certain laws that are passed. For example, like Florida, they're trying to take out a lot of Black history, and that's very vital to this country. It's basically the foundation of this country, and so just taking away that that knowledge and education is only going to progress. So then you have people 10 years later, 15 years later, who don't even know about like people like Frederick Douglass or Harriet Tubman, or very very monumental people who made changes into this country's function.
Mhm.
So I think that only can progress upward. They'll start trying to take away other things in the high school systems and the college systems. They'll just try to take away very monumental, I would say again, pieces of what we should know about this country.
So that puts an emphasis on local elections. Good. Come on, y'all. I know y'all. I know why some of y'all vote. Some of y'all aren't saying it.
Education support.
Don't be shy.
That's a like your answer.
I guess to go along with education as well, like especially on the local level, I know sometimes on ballots there'll be, I guess you can vote on certain levies and bills that kind of affect like school funding and programming. So I know like locally in Cleveland there were some levies that pretty much made like a school, they got like a whole new like athletic wing and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
So what y'all are demonstrating, and this is why we do our work, is it's really important to understand what issues college students are interested in, right? Like connecting, this connection to elections, this connection to politics is so important. I think Zeke was also right when he talked about voter fatigue, right? You get a little tired seeing all these campaign ads, right? I mean, it seems like election ends and then 2 days later there's another one, right? And that can kind of drive down the interest or tamp down the interest in voting. What else can tamp down the interest?
I would say, along with what Zeke was saying from voter fatigue, the misinformation, how it's so powerful, because how we discussed the other week of how if you see all these ads of the different candidates and commercials and everything, and they're all being talked about negatively, and you're not doing your research on your own to figure out, okay, what is this candidate actually trying to say? You think everyone's bad, so then you say, well, I'm just not voting for anyone. And then it really cancels out your desire to have someone who you like and what they stand for, because you think everyone is bad. So you say, why not? I'm just going to not vote.
Fair point.
And I also think just the way like the voting is set up, like locations of where polls are, the lack of transportation for students to get there and from, and the new law that Georgia passed saying like you can't pass out food or water while people are waiting in voting lines. I think that makes a lot of people step out of line, if not come, because a lot of people have a lot of like medical issues and they can't sit in a heavily populated district for a long amount of time just to vote.
Yeah. And that's it, right? That's kind of, whenever we talk, I always say we have to start with the problem, right? Start with the problem. Okay, we've identified this problem. And let's look at what's happening currently in the world, right? What I mentioned last week in our meeting, which was not live streamed, but the world can know that I am Nostradamus. We spent a little bit of time talking about government shutdowns, right? This is a question that I'm posing to you all. I want you all to think about, right? Right now, to use a term, the House of Representatives is a bit chaos, right? We all know there's not a speaker anymore. The speaker was thrown out of office. And I'm curious for you all, is that something that resonates with you all, that there's no speaker anymore? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think the lack of us not having a speaker in the House just kind of shows like the chaos that's ensuing in there. And it kind of also just shows like the conflict between the Republican Party and just like what the next steps for us as a nation would be.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I definitely think that it shows the divide of the Republican Party, because if we remember, they were struggling to even vote a speaker in the House.
Right.
So for them to now turn their back on the person they voted for and kick him out says a lot of like not just a divide between both political parties, but like just a divide in the Republican Party, period.
Yeah. And there are massive ramifications, right? I mean, this is what I want y'all to think about when we discuss these things, right? So right now, for those who aren't aware, a quick civics lesson. The Speaker of the House isn't just the person who runs the House. The Speaker of the House is the third in line of the presidency. So God forbid if something were to happen to Vice President Biden, or I mean not Vice President Biden, excuse me, President Biden or Vice President Harris, the Speaker of the House is supposed to be the next one to assume office. There is no Speaker of the House right now, right? So that's why people use the phrase constitutional crisis. And thinking about it from your generational time, this is the first time this has ever happened. And we know we talked about, okay, last week we were trying to deal with a potential government shutdown, which would have had effects on all forms of society, right? Let's kind of remind ourselves. What are some of the places that were going to be impacted by a government shutdown? Remember, we talked about this last week. You had military. What else?
Those who worked in any type of federal agency or
FAFSA.
Yeah, there's some financial aid type things, right? That would relate directly to students. Exactly. Contract workers.
People who have food stamps.
People who have food stamps. Exactly. Right. All these essential services. And so, posing the question I know the answer to, I'm gonna throw it to you all. Is that threat alleviated?
no.
Really.
No. Why?
I know they extended like for us not to have the shutdown for like another 45 days, but they can't continue to do that. So especially because December is coming up, so they need a solution and they need a solution now.
Precisely. Right. So they passed a law, just to provide the context, that gave them 45 more days, except they then kicked out the speaker. And when there's no speaker, you can't vote. So that means we don't have 45 days. They have to elect a new speaker. And then we have the time that's left between that and 45 days to pass a budget. So this is what's interesting and so relevant, right? Especially when we're trying to have this conversation. What we're trying to do is we're framing this not only to explain the civic process for ourselves, but to practice so that when we're talking to your peers and trying to explain why, hey, this is why this is relevant, right? Hey, this is why this is relevant. I know people are tired, as Zeke said, we get voter fatigue and we get inundated with all these images. And everybody's like, okay, well, the government shutdown is over. It's not over. We might have another one in 45 days. So how does that chaos make you feel?
Nervous.
Yeah.
Nervous.
It makes me nervous, but at the same time, I feel like our generation has lived in chaos for so long. Like I'm nervous, but like kind of numb to the nervousness. Like I recognize that I'm nervous, but I don't physically feel nervous.
Yeah, to Kayla's point, I think it's just at a point of exhaustion. Like, why can we not figure this out? And why is everything in like disarray? And why has it been like that for the past 3 or 4 really plus years? So,
Yeah. So throwing it back is this is what we do. How do we talk to you, Kayla? Got to say, how do we talk to you? But yes, I admit I'm frustrated, tired. Every time I wake up, there's another government shutdown or another government issue or another issue happening with Congress or the issues I care about aren't getting dealt with, right? So because this is the work we do and this is what we're trying to build for, this is the question that we're trying to answer. How do we reach that person who's interested in civics, but honestly, it's just getting a little tired right now? Have I got an idea?
I think that it's important for this group, especially since we're college students trying to reach other college students. I think that it's important that we make politics as fun as possible. And that's an important way to keep everybody engaged.
Yeah, I agree. Like breaking it down and making it like more simple than like, because I feel like a lot of times when people talk about politics, a lot of like jargon and just a lot of things where it feels overwhelming to hear about because you don't even know what it means. But to make it like fun and simple and easy to understand, I feel like that's what will make more people care than just with a lot of like terms that nobody understands.
I think also to spread more information about like our local politicians. Like there's city council members and some people that nobody have no clue about, but everybody knows Biden, Vice President Harris, Trump, all those like dominant, national figures, and it's like very overrated, and that's where the misinformation comes in the blocks. But if you know, oh, so and so who's running for city council, this is like what they're standing for, and just having that basic knowledge, because it starts at the local level and it builds up. So before you get so overwhelmed with the national, figure out what's going on in your own city, your own state, and then also make that fun, and then it can make them more interested in then going higher up.
Yeah, and I think that is important. Like as this group, we like explain that yes, being like the big elections like president, vice president, etc., are important, but like your local elections are equally as important. If it's school board, city council, it doesn't matter because those are the people who like really affect you.
So yeah, we need like bridge the gap between us and them, and like really engage with the community. Yeah.
Especially I feel like with this generation and like the older people, like our elders, I feel like they think that we don't really take politics and voting that seriously, and that we don't see the privilege that they fought for. Which so yeah, I think that making it fun will allow us to like more so see their vision, and then it'll allow them to see our vision too.
Which is exactly what we do, Kayla, and that's why the transition. Let's talk about what we're doing, right? And how we're gonna make it fun. So part of what we do, this is for the outside world, just to get a sneak peek of what happens behind the scenes here, is we don't just sit and talk about things, but we're actually engaged in trying to plan events, right? And so one of the things we've been doing is we've been coming up with a couple of events, and I want to remind you all of one that's coming up October 12th. I'm going to be participating in a panel, and I'll share the link with everybody, that will cover let me get the name so I actually get it right, and I'll post this on at the end of the show. It's from the 2023 Georgia Strategy Summit, and it's actually called Today's Investment, Tomorrow's Vote, Youth Empowered, right? And a lot of the things that we've been talking about for weeks, I'm going to be dealing with in that panel, right? Talking to a room full of activists about the concepts we just discussed, how we overcome voter fatigue, how we overcome voter apathy, right? In an earlier session this year, we discussed one of the biggest problems we saw last year during the runoff. I think Zeke brought it up, was the voting in the Senate election was one thing in the general election, but when it came time to do the runoff fell smack dab on the middle of final exams. And there was no time for students to get absentee voting, right? So how do we deal with that? How do we overcome those challenges, right? So I'll be doing that Tuesday, and many of you will be joining me on that day. It should be fun. But we also got to make it fun. And so now I want us to talk about the fun we're going to have. Rosie, you had a wonderful idea. I just want to kind of re-go through it, and then we're going to work together and start talking about how we're going to plan it out. What was your idea of an event that you wanted us to do?
So the event that I wanted us to do was also pairing with another organization in the surrounding campuses, the Bonner Scholar Program, but I wanted to have a political debate watch party, specifically for the debate. It's Republican debate for the primaries happening on November 8th. I think it will take place in Miami. Not sure, we'll have to double check that, but it'll be on the 8th of November. And just to come, engage, like talk about, civic engagement, watch the debates, discuss it, and just that's a way for me that we can all get politically active by just watching it and understanding like what everybody's thinking and what the candidates themselves are trying to argue for their case.
So what do y'all think about that? Have y'all been watching the November, the other Republican presidential debates? They have been interesting.
They have been very interesting.
They have been. We're completely nonpartisan in this organization. We just watch for the information. But I think that's a great idea. And I think that's definitely an event that we should definitely try to do. So we're going to work on that over the next couple of weeks. I think I mentioned it to you all earlier. If I haven't, I heard a rumor. Just to see, let me rephrase. Do you all think a debate watch party, we're saying we're trying to make politics fun. Is that fun? Like, is that something that you all and your peers are going to want to come to?
Yeah, if people aren't ignorant then. And like open to it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I read in the paper the other day, as for those who do not know my capstone students, we read, we're very, very versed in current events. That there's another debate that's supposed to happen between Governor of Florida and the Governor of California. What's his name? DeSantis and Newsom. So maybe we can hold a series of debate watch parties. That may be If you all feel like that's relevant, let's bring the information to the campus. What's another idea we had? Zeke, I think you had something.
Yeah, so I'm president of the California Club on campus, and I was thinking about doing a voter registration for California member or students just to convert their registration from California to Georgia. And we were talking about it, and we feel like hopefully some of the students in the civic engagement capstone can man the tables and help students transfer their registration with the help of Mr. Osborne's infinite knowledge. So,
Thanks for throwing me that. Yes, thank you, Zeke.
of course.
I think that's a great idea, and I love your ideas. So we're going to do that. We're going to continue to push out this survey that you see at the bottom of this video. It'll be posted there. But this is what we do, right? So we're going to work on these events, and we're going to try to gear up for the spring. Another thing, just to let the world what we knew, and one of the things we talk about a lot that we're going to close on is we deal with the issue of misinformation. We take that head on. Because as I've educated and I keep pushing, I believe misinformation and dealing with this technology and how tech is intersecting with elections is the most dominant issue of your time and of your generation, how we deal with that. Y'all have seen those. Have y'all seen the AI ads yet? Have y'all seen them?
Yes.
Those are crazy, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, how does that make you feel? Like none of that is real.
I'm scared. That is scary. Like,
Yeah.
what is
You don't know
reality?
what's truth and what's a lie.
I mean, I can go there. There are platforms, there are programs. We can go in and say, President Biden hates immigration and hates black people, and they'll generate a video on this. It's crazy, right? Like, how do we? So that's one of the challenges. We have not answered that one yet. How do we solve with that, right? But that's something that we're going to continue to work on, y'all, and try to figure it out. Because my greatest fear is we can try to bring information to our campuses, but if we don't figure out a way to successfully filter out this misinformation stuff, I think we're going to run into a problem. Do y'all agree?
No, definitely.
Yeah, we
It's
will.
going to be hard to combat it.
Yeah,
Let me talk over you.
we're gonna have a major problem with like differentiating. Is that the right word? Yeah, y'all get it. AI and like real things, and I also think this is just gonna like bust open the door for propaganda.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep working on this stuff. But for the world, this is what we do. You have a snapshot of what we typically do. Our meetings go an hour. This conversation has already gone for 30 minutes. See how fast it is? It's fun. We have a great time. But just to close, to wrap this up and to get to the last topic I wanted to do. As I mentioned in the beginning of this, Dr. Jospeh Lowery would have been 102 today. And we celebrate his heavenly birthday today. If you've been paying attention to the Lowery Institute social media, which I'm assuming if you watch this, you have, and if not, follow us. You'll see testimonials and things that have been done by a lot of the work here at the Institute. We're proud of the work our students do, as you hear the issues that they care about and what we're trying to do. And I know that Dr. Lowery would be as well. So I just want to take the time also just to acknowledge that, to say happy birthday. Happy heavenly birthday to Dr. Lowery. We hope we continue to make y'all proud. And does anybody else in the room want to say something? Just one quick, your thoughts about what Dr. Lowery meant to you, or what the to say a special a thank you or a birthday shout out to him.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
All right. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining our roundtable on civic engagement. I could, as I've mentioned several times, we have a survey on voting for my students that I'm going to put attached to this video, so it'll be present as soon as the stream ends. Thank you all for being a part of this. Thank you to the college students, and we wish you all a happy Friday. Dr. Lowery, happy heavenly birthday. Thank you all.